When an NBA team acquires a potential generational talent through the draft and surrounds them with veteran and young players that look like a good fit on paper, usually means that such a team should be close to playoff contention. So, when the New Orleans Pelicans drafted Zion Williamson and added a series of solid players to complement him, a playoff berth seemed like a reasonable goal. But as we know, injuries limited Zion during his rookie season, and the Pelicans never lived up to their expectations, ultimately costing Alvin Gentry his job as head coach. So, following a poor performance inside the bubble, the team started to search for a new leader on the sidelines, and after a few months, it has been confirmed that Stan Van Gundy will be the one to lead the Pelicans in the upcoming season. But will it be enough to make a return to the postseason? Welcome to Courtside. Today we're talking about what the hiring of Van Gundy means for the Pelicans and their aspirations to become contenders in the West. For the better part of the last couple of months, it was rumored that a Van Gundy would make its return to the head coaching position in the NBA. However, it was expected Jeff would be the one to do it with the Houston Rockets. Instead, it was Big Bro Stan who received the opportunity to make his comeback with the Pelicans. Still, Stan's hiring didn't come as a surprise, given that he became one of the favorites to assume the position as soon as it was revealed that he was on David Griffin's radar. But one thing that was a real surprise was the way he got the job. Van Gundy had been out of the sidelines since 2018, but was in no rush to make a comeback. He revealed he wasn't planning on looking to make a return to coaching yet. But once he learned there was an opening in New Orleans, he became interested in it and decided to interview for the job. Then a few months later, he was introduced as the Pelicans' new head coach. Usually, most candidates aren't as lucky as he was, but the fact that Van Gundy could pick the job he wanted in a market as competitive as the NBA head coaching position speaks volumes about him. So why should fans in New Orleans be excited about this hiring? Well, Stan's professional career started in 1995 with the Miami Heat. When Pat Riley became the team's new head coach and president, he intended to bring Jeff along with him. But after the Knicks refused to allow it, Riley decided to add Stan to his coaching staff, saying that he wanted at least one Van Gundy with him. Stan spent almost a decade as an assistant to Riley, but when the latter decided to step down from the coaching duties, Van Gundy was promoted to the head coaching position and had an immediate impact on the team's direction. After going through a couple of disappointing seasons, the Heat was revitalized by the strategies of their new coach, who made the most out of the potential of star rookie Dwayne Wade. During his first season at the front of the team, he guided Miami back to the playoffs. The Heat would surprisingly reach the second round and give a more experienced Pacers team a run for their money. Then, the following year, the team earned the best record in the East with the help of Shaquille O'Neal and made it to the conference finals. There, they lost against the Detroit Pistons in 7 games, thanks in large part to injuries suffered by Dwayne Wade. But despite the success the team was enjoying, things seemingly started to deteriorate between Riley and Van Gundy. In the end, Stan decided to step down from the position just 21 games into his third season and was succeeded by Riley, who guided the Heat to the championship that year. Still, even though his first tenure as a head coach had an abrupt ending, it didn't take long before he started to receive new offers, and by the summer of 2007, he was hired by the Orlando Magic. During his time in Orlando, he guided the team to its best run ever. Magic, who counted on the services of Dwight Howard, won over 50 games in 4 straight seasons and reached the finals in 2009. In the following year, they returned to the conference finals but lost against the Boston Celtics. Then, after a couple of seasons in which the play of the team started to decline and Howard's relationship with his coach deteriorated, the Magic fired Van Gundy. Once again, he remained out of the sidelines for a couple of seasons before returning with the Detroit Pistons. This time, he was hired both as head coach and president of basketball operations. Unlike his time with the Heat and Magic, Stan's tenure with the Pistons wasn't very successful. In 4 years, the team only managed to make one playoff appearance, which resulted in a sweep at the hands of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Ultimately, Van Gundy was released from his duties as a coach and as president after 4 seasons. And while it's clear the team didn't perform as expected, it had more to do with what he did on the front office than what he did on the bench. Under his leadership, the team made many questionable moves, which ultimately hurt the way his players performed on the court and led to poor performances. Still, while his last job as a coach didn't go too well, the Pistons managed to perform similarly to what the Heat and the Magic did with him at the front in a few areas, with the most evident of them being defense. In 9 of Van Gundy's seasons as a coach, his teams finished in the top 10 in defensive rating while also being among the leaders in most defensive statistics. What's most amazing is that this list also includes his last 2 seasons in Detroit. That alone could be a difference maker for New Orleans, considering they were among the worst defensive teams during last season. Specifically, the Pelicans finished in the bottom 5 in the league in opponent points in the paint, opponent fast break points, and opponent second chance points, while also finishing at 21st in defensive rating. The defensive mediocrity of the team harmed its chances to win games, and while many of their players are still on their first contract and don't have that much experience, the truth is the roster had enough tools to play better on that end of the floor. Drew Holiday is regarded as one of the best defensive point guards in the league, and despite struggling with inconsistency, Lonzo Ball was also receiving praise for his defensive instincts just a season ago. While not an elite defensive player, Brandon Ingram has the physical tools to bother most of his opponents, and he's shown flashes of his potential on defense. The same goes for Zion, who still has a lot to learn but should be able to intimidate his opponents with a challenge. On their own, that core should be able to finish in the top half of the league when it comes to defensive rating. After all, Ball, Ingram, and Josh Hart were part of a Lakers team that, while not elite, finished 12th on defensive rating in the previous 2 seasons. So, assuming the Pelicans will bring back most of their players for the next season, Van Gundy should have enough to improve the defense. However, that's not the only thing he'll bring to the table. Aside from being a brilliant mind when it comes to defensive schemes, Stan is known for 3 things: player development, player accountability, and winning. During his previous stops, he helped players like Wade and Howard reach superstar status while also developing Andre Drummond into an all-star. That should be exciting for New Orleans, considering Ingram is already an all-star and Williamson has the potential to become one of the most dominant players in the history of the game. If Van Gundy manages to unlock the potential of both players, that could be enough to make the team a playoff contender. His greatest challenge on that aspect might be finding the right balance between the two when it comes to the offense. For most of last season, Ingram was the clear offensive leader of the Pelicans. However, when Zion came back from injury, he had to make adjustments to the way he was playing before. And while Zion put up incredible numbers and helped his team win some games when he was available, if Ingram is not in a good offensive rhythm when it matters the most, the Pelicans might not be able to win close games. After all, we just witnessed how easy it is to put a wall in front of physically dominant players like Zion in the playoffs. That means that Brandon, who's an excellent shot creator, will have to have a larger role in the offense for them to be successful. Then when it comes to player accountability, it may not sound like something relevant. Most people assume that's something all coaches should be able to do, but that's not always the case. When players are not committed to playing winning basketball, they won't put their best effort on defense, won't sacrifice their bodies, or make clutch plays. And in the end, that can lead to many losses. So, there's a reason why the first thing Griffin said when introducing Stan was how he could make people accountable. That's a virtue not all coaches have and can be the difference between being a regular team or a great one. Then last but not least, there's winning. Again, that should be the goal of all coaches. Still, few of them have the resume Van Gundy has. A winning record in the regular season and the playoffs, along with a finals appearance, is something only elite coaches achieve. And while it's too early to predict deep playoff runs or finals appearances for the young Pelicans, it all starts by acquiring a leader that can help establish a winning culture. Van Gundy has proven to be that kind of leader, as well as someone that can teach how to play winning basketball. So if he manages to put them in situations to make the most out of their abilities, the Pelicans should start to win more games sooner rather than later. Altogether, New Orleans has a roster with the tools to be better than it was last season. And while their performance might come down to who's healthy from time to time, they should be able to play much better in the following season. Zinn and Ingram seem to be talented enough to guide a team to a winning record. So Van Gundy's main objective should be to find a way to make them both efficient while playing together. If he manages to get that done and the rest of the team buys into his plan, there's no reason to believe the Pelicans won't be better on both ends of the court. But now, do you think the Pelicans will make the playoffs next season? Or are they still a few years away? Let us know in the comments. Hey, we hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you did, remember to like it and subscribe to our channel so you get more NBA content. We are Courtside.